Have you ever noticed how hard you are on yourself and how exhausted you feel afterwards? That constant inner voice telling you to do better, try harder, be different. What most people don't realise is that self criticism isn't just a mindset issue, it's doing something very real to your nervous system. So I'm Mercedes and I've spent years kind of like delving into these things. And by the end of this video, I want to bring you a sense of understanding and how you can deal with this inner critic as well. So, one of the problems we have is that self criticism is often seen as a motivation or giving ourselves discipline. And what we don't realise is that that's like the worst possible motivation we could ever go for, because actually it just demotivates us. And when we think about it, if you had a friend who came to you who was talking about the same problems, the last thing you would go is, well, just do it, you silly woman. You just wouldn't do it, right? Because you would think, I don't want to upset them, I don't want to offend them, and it's not going to help them to kind of be critical. But we do that to ourselves. And we often think that if we're kind to ourselves, it will make us lazier, it will make us do less, it will make us achieve less, it will make us stick to our goals more. So we think if we call ourselves names and we say horrible things to ourselves, it's going to somehow make us achieve our goals better. But in reality, that constant self-judgment just keeps the body in stress, okay? Because when you're in stress, it's really hard to achieve what you want to achieve. So it's like at the moment, I'm trying to lose a little bit of weight. And if I'm really, really negative on myself about putting on the weight and all the negative things if I slip up, it makes the stress of losing it worse, which makes me want to eat more, which makes it harder to lose weight. And so I get stuck in that loop. And so you can be doing all the right things sometimes and still feel tense, tired, and on edge because of this inner pressure. So you're doing everything that you should be doing, but the inner pressure is stopping you from achieving what you want to achieve. And it explains why rest doesn't always work if your inner voice doesn't soften. So you're still giving yourself that negative talk when you're trying to rest. You're actually still compounding the problem, and so you're not actually releasing the stress from within the body. So it shows up for me in loads of different ways. Like I said about losing weight, I can be very self-critical, and I try very hard not to do that. But the other one is when it comes to doing my work and managing my life and my family, I can be very self-critical of myself. So it didn't make sense, but anyway, I will push myself to do more, to do more, to achieve more. So I will push myself to hyper focus on my work to get loads done. And then I realise maybe I haven't tidied the house as well as I could. So then I've got that to do. And then I've got to care for my son. I've got other things to do. And I will continue to push myself past the point of exhaustion because I feel like I should be doing more. And I tell myself I need to do more. Resting is not, I can't afford to rest now. I need to do, and resting is lazy. And what am I going to do with my rest time? And then I start judging my rest time as well. And this becomes quite an interesting one when I get stuck in this loop of, well, if I just rest by sitting in front of the telly, I'm just wasting my time. And in some ways, it's not the greatest form of rest, but it can be a relief when you actually just let everything go and get involved in something that's not real life, essentially, and just allowing yourself to relax on everything. And so I will then even judge how I'm resting and think that I should be doing something even more productive in my rest time as well. And that then actually compounds the stress that I feel at any one moment. And that's kind of when I notice how when I stop working and I relax, I notice that my body doesn't relax. And I become aware of that because there's too much other stuff going on. In the past, when I was running another business, and I would sit down to relax, and then I'd get my phone out and I would start doing things for the business, working stuff out, looking things up. And I was never switching off, and it was constant on all the time. Oh, I nearly lost my computer then. And I realised after time that it wasn't effort that I needed, it was more safety. And that by changing my inner tone and allowing myself that peace and allowing myself that space, I've been able to allow myself to relax more. And that's kind of how it helped me. So self-criticism actually signals threat to the nervous system. So we think, oh, these threats come from external, they come from outside, we experience them and our body interprets them. But that constant self-criticism will feed that. This is now the other way from the brain into the body. So we're feeding those messages from the brain into the body, and the body interprets it as a threat. So it doesn't hear like, I should do better, or you stupid idiot, or why did you do this, as encouragement. It hears, I'm not safe as I am, I'm failing, I'm not enough. And that will actually keep you stuck in fight or flight, which will actually make it harder to achieve what you want to achieve. And over time, what that will end up coming back to you as is shallow breathing, fatigue, tension, difficulty resting, emotional shutdown. So all of those things start to happen because you're putting yourself under this constant pressure. And self-compassion isn't about letting go of responsibilities. It's not about saying, well, I'm just going to give everything up and just do nothing. It's not about that. It's about giving you the safety, so giving your nervous system enough safety to actually be able to regulate. So self-compassion is saying to yourself, I'm doing the best I can, and understanding that and appreciating that, the same as you would if a good friend came to you. So as a simple practice that you can try is to place a hand or both hands, whatever feels comfortable, on your chest, and closing your eyes, just going within for a moment if you can, and taking a deep breath in and a slow breath out through the mouth. And again in. And this time as you exhale, just say to yourself, I'm allowed to be human. Notice how that feels in the body. And you can do it another time if you want, inhaling. I'm allowed to be human. And when you do this, just notice what happens in the body. Even if there's a small softening, it's valuable because you're releasing something. And you're not trying to change your thoughts. You're just changing the tone your nervous system receives. And I think this is really important to say, because often what happens, and this is where we get stuck in this loop, is we notice that we're in negative self-talk. And then we criticize ourselves for our negative self-talk. So we're actually compounding the negative self-talk because we've now noticed it, and now we're criticizing ourselves for what we've been doing. So can we get to the point where we can notice and we can just say, oh, I've noticed that. And I just allow ourselves to notice it and come back and say, that's okay, I'm human. We talk to ourselves like that sometimes. That's okay. Can we just notice it? Can we just be aware of it? Can we not even say that we're going to change it? Just being aware of it. And when we become aware of it, that's when it starts to change, because we're then aware of how we're speaking to ourselves, and we start thinking, well, actually, I don't really want to speak to myself like that. And so you can shift out of it. And so it's just remembering that you don't need to be harsher to grow. You do not need the self-criticism. What you need is to feel safe enough to settle, safe enough to allow yourself to make the changes, the expansion, the joy that you want to bring into your life. And that growth happens much faster from the point of regulation than it does from pressure. So when we regulate, when we're really calm, when we give ourselves space and permission to change and to grow and to develop, we are going to get much better results than if we try and pressure ourselves into those results. And just finally to remember that kindness isn't a weakness, it's nervous system support, and so essential. So I hope you enjoyed this video and it's given you some value. So notice how you speak to yourself today. Just start to pay attention to it, what's happening and what's going on, and to ask yourself, would my body feel safer if I changed the tone? So just starting to tune into that and be aware of it, be aware of what's going on for you. And remember to share a comment if you'd like to share what came up for you, if you practice that, and to like and subscribe to get some of my other videos. And if you'd like to connect on a deeper level, then come and join my free group, The Sacred Pause. I've put the link in the description, and I would love to see you on the inside and connect with you more.